Hello and welcome back to my small little library here. Let's do a wrap up of July of 2023. I've read 14 books in July, which like a good amount, even though I had some struggles with some books, especially in the later part of the month. So yeah, did kind of suck, but yeah, I still got 14 books read, which is actually kind of nice, you know. It is really warm in here. So, let's talk about the first one, and we're gonna start with an audiobook, and that is Halloween Party. I think I finished it this month. To be honest, my notes kind of got a little bit mixed up on that point, but yeah, we're gonna start with Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. It is one of those I liked a little bit more. Gave it 3 stars. Was kind of fine. There's a Halloween party, and then one of the girls attending winds up dead in the next morning, and yeah, Hurricane Poirot has to find out what happened. You know, like really standard Agatha Christie. I liked it, even though it was a little bit simpler. But I think Agatha Christie kind of does it better if it's simpler. I kind of really don't like her more complex books. So yeah. It was fine, you know. Then I listened to another audiobook, and that is The Psychology of Stupidity by Jean-François Marmion and Liesel Schillinger. So yeah, someone who sounds really German and someone who sounds really French. So yeah, I gave that book 2 stars. It was interesting, but, and that is really big but, it was kind of like short essays from the authors and then interviews with different people who have something to say about the topics, and it was always said, and then the text come, and then Charles, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then Jamie, blah, 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 blah. So it was really stifled, not nice interviews dispersed with kind of shorter essays about these interviews. It was really weird. It didn't mesh well with me, even though I find the topic to be really interesting. So it only got 2 stars from me. But yeah, I was kind of sad about it. I would love another audiobook about the same topic, but with a different method of presenting the research. So I might look into that. I might not. We'll see. And then I read a physical book. Who would have thought? And the first physical book I read in the month was Witch King by Martha Wells. And I was a little bit disappointed by this. I only gave it 3 stars. So yeah, it was kind of average, to be honest. I liked the ideas, you know. We have Kai, who is a demon. And he was imprisoned for some reason. He gets free, and then he goes on kind of a little bit of a revenge journey. Also finding his friends because he doesn't know where they are. And so we have half of the story set, and then half of the story is the past and how we got to pretty much the present. I would have loved to have 2 different books and focused on one story each book, and then with way more detail, because this felt so rudimentary and so glossed over and half-assed kind of, that I was really sad about that. I don't think it really works. There's nothing really happening in the now part that is in any kind of way impactful on the story. It's really weird. So yeah, kind of, I didn't like the story. I love the world and the characters, so I gave it 3 stars, because story-wise I think it would be more like a 2 star, but world-wise and character-wise I think it's more of a 4 star. So yeah, we have a 3 star. I was disappointed, but what can you do, right? Stick with the Murderbot series. That is kind of better, you know. And then I listened to another audiobook. This one got 5 stars, which my first 5-star read for the month, was really great, and that is called Chernobyl, The History of a Nuclear Catastrophe, and it is by Serhii Plokhy. And yeah, that is one big impactful book. If you have never read anything about the Chernobyl catastrophe, go and listen to that book or read it, whatever you want to do. I found the audiobook to be really, really great. And it's just really like a big, long talk about why the catastrophe could happen, what communism has to do with that, and why it was all like a really, really bad situation, and a lot of people failed, a lot of poorer people, and yeah, just the whole situation was just so bad, and the book talks about it perfectly. So yeah, if you ever wanted to read a book about that, pick that up. It's amazing. I only like watched one documentary about the whole topic, and there was so little I knew about the situation, so yeah, that one really goes in, and it's heartbreaking. It is really, really heartbreaking, because he talks a lot about like the normal people who suffered so much, and yeah, really, really heartbreaking, but good to know, in my opinion. Then we have 3 other physical books I read, and I'm gonna do like a roundabout review for all 3, and that is part 8, 9, and 10 of the Martian series by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Yeah, what is to say about these 3? They are like all of the other of the series. A woman gets kidnapped, the guy goes after her and rescues her and gets kidnapped himself and gets out of those situations and gets kidnapped again and gets out of the situation, and in the end he gets the woman. That is pretty much what these books are about. Pretty much all of them got 3 stars, because even though I kind of don't like the story, they are adventure novels, the fighting is nice, it's a fun book nonetheless, even though I really, really didn't like the repeat of the story. You have pretty much 10 times the same book with a little bit of variation in it. Yeah, so to be honest, I wouldn't recommend these books. Don't do it. It's not worth it, to be honest. Then we have a book I listened to, but I also own it physically, so I can show you. And that is The Throne of Fire, the second book in the Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan. I read The Red Pyramid last month, and then I read The Throne of Fire this month. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars, pretty much the same as the first one. Our children kind of like grow up a little bit. They have to fight for their home and fight for the kids they take under the wing to like educate them, and yeah, I kind of still don't like the fact that Rick Riordan always has these like love triangles, love problems with like children that are so young, you know. I find that weird. I would love it if it would be more about friendship than about love. But yeah, it is what it is, which is why I gave it 4 stars. Then I read another physical book, and that is The Hippopotamus by Stephen Fry, and that was kind of like a surprise great book. I gave it 4 stars. This was nothing like I would have thought it is. Our main character is like an asshole. He is an alcoholic journalist who loses his job, and then his goddaughter comes to him and is like, please go to my home, or the home of my family. It's kind of an estate in the countryside, and she's like, there are some weird things happening, please go there and tell me what you think of the whole situation. And so he goes there, and he's really rude to everyone, but yeah, his godson is also there, and it gets weirder from there, and in the end, the ending was so surprising that it really like turned the whole book around for me. And yeah, it's just, I won't spoil you why it is so surprising. You have to read it. It is hard to get through the beginning, at least in my opinion, but the end is so worth it. Just a little bit of a trigger warning, there's a lot of really disgusting sexual stuff in here, with minors, with animals. You might not want to read those scenes, but they are kind of important for the story. Yeah, so be warned about that. Other than that, kind of brilliant book, to be honest. So yeah, kind of loved that. And then I listened to another Agatha Christie. I don't know why I do that to myself. It was also a 3-star book. It's called After the Funeral. To be honest, I just feel like Agatha Christie wrote the same book twice, because I didn't know the book before, but it sounds like a completely different book by Agatha Christie. I just don't know what the book is called. And it's pretty much one person died, another person at the family gathering is like, yeah, we all know that he got murdered, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then the person who said that he was murdered gets murdered herself, and Hercule Poirot comes in and investigates, and that is it. And I'm pretty sure that there's another Agatha Christie novel out there with Poirot also that is really, really similar to that one. So yeah, it's just a really average Agatha Christie novel, in my opinion. Then, the next one, we're kind of doing this like speedy, but I kind of like that, I think. The next one I read is the second 5-star book I read this month, and that is Red Queen by Christina Henry. This is the second book in the Alice series by her, where Alice lives in this really horrendous world and was in a madhouse at the beginning. And yeah, in part 2, she's now out of the city and life doesn't get better. And yeah, this book is not as gruesome as the first one, but equally as horrendous in the situations that come up. But yeah, it's not as gory as the first one, which I kind of liked, to be honest, to get a little bit of a break from the goriness of the first one. I just don't think that Red Queen is the most fitting name because she has such little impact. But yeah, other than that, absolutely love this. There are a lot of, like, I feel like Easter eggs to other fairy tales and stories, but I don't know if it's just coincidence or like purposefully, you know. But yeah, absolutely love this. 5 stars. I cannot wait to continue with the series because there's the third one out there, and I really, 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 really want to read that. But I have to buy it first, you know. So yeah. And then we have another one I listened to and I was really disappointed by, but I do also own it physically, and that is The Organized Mind by Daniel Levitin. I feel like this markets itself as like a book to help the everyday person to organize their mind and, like, you know, get their life a little bit more organized. For me, like, at least like 50% of the book was more like professional organization, and if you have money and can kind of like spend the money on assistant and stuff like that, which I really didn't find helpful. And yeah, there was so many like things that didn't really matter. Chapter about like health stuff, like how to talk to doctors and get what you want, and I was like, what has that to do with an organized mind, you know? So yeah, I was kind of really disappointed and gave it 2 stars, and I will search for another one that may help me get my life a little bit more organized, but that wasn't it. So yeah, kind of really disappointed in that one, if I'm honest. Now, we're already at the last 2 books I read, and those are both 5-star reads, which, once I tell you which they are, really won't be surprising. But yeah, I had a really, well, I really struggled with some other books that I didn't finish. So I kind of had a bad reading week this week and last week, but I did finish 2 5-star books, so I'm kind of happy with that. And the first one is The Hero of Ages. I finally finished the Mistborn trilogy. I am so happy about that. The book was amazing. I really loved the ending. It was really heartbreaking, the whole book. Yeah, what can I say? I think it's a perfect ending to the first trilogy. I went out and bought the second one right after I finished this one. But yeah, really heartbreaking, and kind of interested to see how the characters end up, especially Sazed. So yeah, it was amazing. There's nothing else I can say about it other than it was amazing to read. And yeah, if you haven't read the Mistborn series yet, you definitely should read it. And then the second one, which also isn't a surprise, I listened again to The Return of the King, the third Lord of the Rings book, and I listened to the audiobook that is narrated by Andy Serkis, my absolute favorite version of the audiobooks. This one was especially amazing because the voices were so good. I at times felt like I watched the movie, which was so surreal. Yeah, it's just amazing. I love how much more in the third book is like written down than what we get in the films. So yeah, kind of worth the read if you only watch the films. But yeah, I love these books, so I needed something really nice to listen to and to read. So yeah, did that. Been there, done that, loved it again. And then the last book that I will finish today, I just haven't finished it yet because today's the 31st, but I only have an hour to listen to. So yeah, I haven't finished that, but I will finish it. And that is one I also own physically, and that is Abigail in the Dark. I go back to this book ever so often because I love the narrator that does the audiobook. And I don't know why, but this book is so soothing and feels like coming home, and I don't know, I love the book. So yeah, Abigail in the Dark by Misha McNamara, 5-star read. This is one really, like, an absolutely go-to if I don't feel good. I will go to this book, even though it's a true crime book, but I don't go to it for like the true crime-ness, just like, she does so many great interviews with like detectives, and yeah, the voice of the narrator is fantastic, so listen to it, it's great, you know. So yeah, that were all of the, well, now it's 15 books. I forgot to count that in the beginning. But yeah, that were all of the 15 books I read and listened to in the month of July. Well, I had a lot of bad books in there, but also like a lot of good books, even if it's cheating because I knew some of them already. But yeah, a really mixed reading month, and I had a great time reading, and I read some really great things, and I couldn't be happier, to be honest. I'm really, really consistent and good with reading this year. I don't think I've been ever this consistent. I'm nearly at 100 books for the year now already, which was like my reading goal for the year. And last year I got over it, but like not that much. And this year I think I will get over it by quite a bit. So that is kind of nice. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this right now, and I really enjoy to do this like quick review videos for you. I might go back and pick some of them to do like reviews about only those books. For example, I can put it up here or up there, I don't know which way, but I did a video about the Martian series by Edgar Rice Burroughs, so you can watch that video. Yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully. So yeah, bye bye!